What is up, comic fan? Welcome to the Legion of Comics. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the new comic books being released next week, July 20th, 2022. But first, check this out. Digging that intro music. As I said, we're going to be looking at new comic book day for July 20th, 2022, and it is a huge week. Last week was pretty light, and they're making up for it this week for certain. But before we dive into it, I do want to remind everybody, if you need anything cleaned or pressed, hit up our friend Justin over on Instagram. Link is in the description of all my videos. Use that promo code WeAreLegion and take advantage of discounts, deals, special offers. He does all kinds of cool stuff. Who knows what he's running? Hit him up, find out, save some money, and get your books taken care of by one of the best dudes I know at it. So let's get into it. It's a big list. Not waste any more time. First up, we've got Taylor's Nightwing, issue number 94. I'm a couple issues behind on this, so I'm not going to have too much to get into. I'm going to be getting caught up while I'm on vacation. As I am recording this, at the time of this releasing, I'm on vacation. So there's a good chance I could have read it by now. Needless to say, it's a great book. It's on my digital only read, so I typically fall behind on it, but Tom Taylor's doing an amazing job. Next up, and I'm really pumped for this, this is one of our Dark Crisis tie-ins for this week, and this is going to be Flash issue number 784. It's part 2 of the search for Barry Allen, who has been missing since the events of Justice League Incarnate, and the Flash family are going off to try to find Barry because in the midst of this dark crisis, they know that these speedsters are crucial, and as a family, they don't leave anybody behind. They're spread out in teams. Even his kids are off needing his help at this point. It's a really fun story. Jeremy Adams is really crushing it. And if you want to know more about it, check out Sector 2815's YouTube channel. Him and I just had Jeremy Adams on over there and had a great discussion about Dark Crisis and his Flash run. Next up, oh my God, I'm pumped. Mark Waid and Dan Moore are bringing us World's Finest issue number 5. So they're still dealing with this ancient devil Neza, who's just running crazy and using magic, and that's Superman's weakness. The story has just been top notch, and we got a cool little appearance by Green Lantern in the last issue. I'm still excited to see who could be appearing next. But this is all leading to a huge event upcoming in September, I believe. Batman versus Damian. So straight out of the pages of World's Finest, as well as a follow-up to the Shadow War, those two titles are going to come together for a big Batman versus Damian event where Damian is going to be possessed by this demon in here. So if you're going to be excited for that, you might want to pay close attention to this title. And even if you're not, this title is one of the top ongoing monthly titles that hits shelves. I'm telling you, if you're not reading it, get caught up now. Next up for Marvel Comics, their big summer event is going to be kicking off. This is Avengers X-Men's Eternals Judgment Day by Kieran Gillen. So the whole concept behind this is the X-Men are immortal now, like they can't die, blah, blah, blah. I really can't stomach the idea of what X-Men is these days. It's just trash in my opinion. But the Eternals feel the exact same way because of them being immortals and them thinking themselves as new gods. And I'm not joking. The solicitation for this book even uses Jack Kirby's references of new gods, and the Eternals already know that they're not the new gods, that we are the new gods. It's really just, in my opinion, ridiculously disrespectful to Jack Kirby to be playing with his DC properties over here at Marvel. That's neither here nor there. I've got so many problems with Marvel these days, but I'm going to give this book a shot. I think the premise sounds cool. The Eternals look at the X-Men as deviants. They're coming to kill them. The Avengers have to step in. So it's a bunch of stuff going on. I'm going to see how it's handled. I'm not familiar with what Kieran Gillen does at Marvel, but I'm going to give it a shot. I try to give their events a shot to see what's up with them, and I've been burned. Guys. So we'll see how this goes. Next up, we have Jurassic League from Juan Gedeon and Daniel Warren Johnson. Daniel Warren Johnson on the A cover there. Juan Gedeon on all the interiors and the primary writer of this book. I like to give him his credit where it's due, but I still love Daniel Warren Johnson. That's what initially drew me to this, and I'm here to stay. That second issue was great. We saw that Wonder Dawn has met up with Bat-Sword and Super Sword, basically in this Jurassic world. That's Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman all have gotten together now because of events that were happening, and we're supposed to be getting the first next Justice League member because it's a Justice League book, not a Trinity book. So we're getting the Green Torch in this issue. Darkseid is the big bad. He hasn't been shown yet, but Earth is seeing the side effects of his oncoming Like he has these acolytes there building this mechanisms for him and stuff. And I'm excited to see how this universe shows off the Flash, Green Lantern, Hawkman, Aquaman, whoever. But I'm just more excited to get the characters that we don't typically see in everything else. And we're starting to get that with this issue. So I'm really pumped for it. I love the cover of this with Wonder Woman and Giganta. I mean, they have dinosaur counterpart names, but it's just easier to call them that. This has been a really, really fun book so far. It doesn't take itself too serious, but it takes itself serious where it matters. And I think that Juan Gedeon's knocking it out of the park. Next up, here's our second Dark Crisis tie-in for this week. Young Justice, issue number 2 of 6. So that first issue was pretty dope. It's the same concept really as the one-shots that just started, Worlds Without a Justice League, where all these heroes who are presumed dead are really in these little pocket paradise universes or realities, illusions, whatever they are. But the Young Justice as a collective got sent into one minus Wonder Girl. So you had Impulse, Superboy, and Robin all wake up together, where all these other heroes are in their own worlds. They're together in one, and they're trying to make sense of it. And they got saved at the tail end by Wonder Girl, but it's the Wonder Girl from this alternate pocket universe thing here. So it's not our regular Wonder Girl. Back home, she's trying to find out where her missing friends are. So I think this is going to be really interesting because those one-shots show us what our primary superheroes are up to, but this one's actually 6 issues, so it's going to give us more idea of what these little worlds are that they're stuck in, where we know that they're being put there because Pariah is fueling their hope, and he's feeding his machine for the Great Darkness with that hope. So there's a lot of awesome stuff going on with Dark Crisis right now, and I'm pumped to dive into this one. Next up, issue number 2 of the new Fantastic Four. Love this cover art. Human Torch, Ghost Rider, Danny Ketch is awesome, but we've got Wolverine, Spider-Man, Ghost Rider, and the Hulk, the new Fantastic Four teaming up, taking place in the 90s when the team originally formed, and they're dealing with an inflation of violence in LA, all being fueled by this demon that they ran across. And where there's one demon, you got the Ghost Rider. So it's cool. And Human Torch shows up right at the tail end for a little team up. So we'll see how it goes and where it goes from here. Next up, issue number 2 of the new Maxi series from DC, Black Adam. So we're seeing in this series that Teth Adam is dying unexpectedly. He was in a battle, and it looked like he really put out all the stops to win the battle, but it's cost him to be infected, and it looks like he's dying and potentially going to pass on his power to a new, younger character that we met in issue number 1. This cover art is insane. I believe that that's Rodriguez, the same guy that did the Shadows of the Bat 12 issues for Detective Comics recently, but that is just dope cover. The first issue was really good, super solid, perfect timing if you're excited for the movie to jump on a Black Adam title just to get more familiar with the character. It looks like this one stands on its own merits as it takes place in an unspecific time before the events of Dark Crisis. Next up, the finale to Peter David's epic trilogy. It's a prequel trilogy to Future Imperfect, the final issue of the final mini, Maestro, World War M, issue number 5. I know you might call it Maestro, but you might be wrong. But we have Maestro teaming up with the Abomination to take on Namor. What else could you want? Enough said, right? Enough said. Next up, and this one is a huge one for me, Do a Powerbomb, issue number 2 by Daniel Warren Johnson. This is his new indie comic from Image, where we follow this young wrestler whose mother had a horrible fate in the ring, and she wants to be a wrestler, and it's just not working out for her, and she gets pulled away from her life by a necromancer who takes her to a different dimension and presents her with the grandest wrestling stage ever and asks her if she would like to compete in the Death Life tournament, and that's spelled L-Y-F-E, Death Life, one word, tournament. So we'll see where it goes. It's Daniel Warren Johnson, so we know it's going off the rails, and it's going to rip our heart out in the best way possible in the process. I cannot wait. Next up, from IDW publisher, we have Godzilla versus Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue number 4. So as with any classic good guy versus good guy series, we're already past the versus part. This might as well be called Godzilla teams up with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers to fight Rita and a bunch of big monsters, because that is exactly where we are and where we find ourselves in issue number 4. The Power Rangers are completely outnumbered by all the monsters of the Godzilla universe, so he is now teamed up with them to take them all on. I'm sure there's not much more to this miniseries. I'm not sure how far it goes. This could potentially be the last one based on how it's been formatted so far. If they drag it out too long, it'll just be hollow fan service. It's barely more than hollow fan service at this point, but it is a blast. Freddie Williams is doing the interiors, and the colors are amazing. It's just really fun if you're a fan of either one of these properties. Next up, now this one, this is just pure guilty pleasure for me. I don't get enough Aquaman titles, so I pick them up when they drop them. They did that Deep Target where he teamed up with the Green Arrow over last year, and it was just an unexcusable good time. And I was hoping for the same thing with this one, and it delivered. And it's even more serious story than that last one. We have Aquaman Flash Void Song. So in the events of this, there's an alien invasion that is based on sound. Like they have these sound properties to them that have taken over the world. But because Flash being in the Speed Force and Aquaman being in the deepest part of the ocean at the time of their invasion, they were unaffected by it. So now they're having to team up, save the world after they find out what is going on with it. It's an oversized book. I don't think it's like 48 pages. It was $6.99 price tag. Definitely a cool read. It was formatted fantastic. You have this impending sense of doom as the aliens were coming in. So I'm hoping it can carry that vibe through the rest of the series. It is only going for 3 issues, and I will be getting all 3 of them. Next up, and this was on the list last week, but when I was pulling the books for this week, I saw that it was on it. So at the time of recording this, I haven't even picked up my indies from last week yet. But We Live, number 4, once again, is on the list. Age of the Palladians, issue number 4. We got that last issue was just a turn of events for all the characters all around. Crazy. We hit the format of the first volume in this issue. It was much needed. This volume has not gone as hard as that first one, so I'm expecting it to really pick up and push hard through these final 2 issues. And I'm expecting it to be formatted different as well. Where that last one, volume 1, they weren't sure if they were going to proceed from there. With volume 2, I can guarantee you guys that we're guaranteed a volume 3, and I think that this one's going to be written with that in anticipation. So this might be a lot more open-ended than that last one was, but I'm curious to see what's going to happen if Hitoto and Tala and the reconnection teams are going to be able to fulfill that goal of getting their powers stabilized. We saw that the general has turned heel, and he's got the entire convoy of people about to be led to the slaughter. There's just so much going on. I can't imagine getting it wrapped up in 2 issues, but I'm excited to see what they attempt to do with it. And last book on the Legion list for this week that's in my pull box is going to be The Rocketeer, issue number 4, and this is the final issue of the miniseries The Great Race, where Cliff has been tasked by a smart engineer, millionaire kind of guy to fly his plane in this race. And of course, you have Nazis and other spy organizations after the tech and the plane he's going after. And it's just been a fun, straightforward Rocketeer story. There's really not much else to say about that. The art is fantastic. It plays classic and true to the character, and it's just been a blast. So that's going to be it. That's on my guaranteed pull list. I always tend to end up grab 1 or 2 more things, but if you want to know what my top pick for the week is going to be and why, be sure to check out the Comic Vets channel. And him and I do a little video together that posts typically on Sundays on his channel, where we both give you our top pick for the week and why you should consider picking it up. And also want to give a thank you to Big Time Collectibles for sponsoring the channel and the monthly Legion Loot giveaway for the channel members. Be sure to check them out at any of the major social media platforms. And lastly, a huge thank you to our good friends over at the Augusta Book Exchange, Paul and Donna. They are the keepers of my comics, the guardians of my pull box. They make sure everything I'm looking for is right there waiting on me every week when I get there. If you're ever in the Augusta area, look them up, hit them up, tell them we said hey. And leave me a comment, guys. Let me know what you're picking up this week or what you're looking forward to. It's a huge week. There's a lot of good stuff to look forward to. If there's anything that I missed on this list that you think I should be reading, let me know, and I'll definitely consider picking it up. There are a ton more books on there. I didn't have a lot of Marvel on my pool, but there is a ton of Marvel dropping this week as well. So double check your stores, your list. Make sure you don't leave anything on the shelf. And until next time, guys, as always, I'm Mark, but we are Legion.